Hi, hello viewers. I'm so sorry. I The previous session went off the line, went off live. My internet service was disrupted, so I'm back now. So I will just try to continue from where I stopped at before the internet had issues. I'm going to be going to the entrenched meat that the writer was talking about. Again, if you are just peradventure joining this live broadcast, is Great by Choice that we are reviewing together, by Jim Collins. It's a book that talks about how people can be great during a chaos, during uncertainty, and his definition of what it means to be lucky. So here he was talking about leaders and comparing leaders that do well during situations and circumstances or the world we find ourselves in. And then he told, I was explaining before the line was cut off about his visions, the visionary of people that do well in business. And he made us understand that people that do exceptionally well are not people that necessarily have one very big risk-seeking vision or that are very bold. But from his own experience of analysis of about 7,000 companies, they were able to see that people that were able to succeed in a chaotic environment are people that were more disciplined. So as we are now, we need a lot of discipline. I have a friend, I'll share an example. I have a friend that when we literally started our business about the same time in 2009. As at the time I was still living on the mainland, living around Okoba. He was already living in the city around GRA, was spending big. But I can tell you in 5-6 years, his business was nowhere again. Why? Because he was not that disciplined. Maybe he was spending the money the way the money was coming in at that time. This is one discipline that most business leader needs in order to be able to go from good to great. The writer also took us to an entrenched myth. He said, there's a popular belief that a treat-filled world favors the speedy. That means the race, people, the faster you can run, the more successful you become. You are either quick or you are dead. That's what people say. That is either you are fast or you are nowhere. But this writer is saying it's not always the case. That most of the companies he has evaluated, over 7,000, most of them that have done very well are not necessarily people that were just running to speed. It's a contrary finding. The idea that leading in a fast world always requires fast decision, fast action, and that we should embrace an overall belief of fast is a great way to get killed. I find that very interesting. So for people who believe that I just have to do everything fast, it is a very good way to get killed. He said, these great leaders that have succeeded in the midst of uncertainties are people that figure out when to go fast and when not to go fast. So that's another thing that is tied to discipline. We don't say because everybody's at home now or everybody's under lockdown or everybody's doing a particular business, everybody's putting money in this business, I want to do the same thing, that is going to be a problem. So that's what he's saying. He said good leaders know when to go fast and when not to go fast. Okay? I find another popular belief that he's been able to debunk in the one he talks about. Great enterprises' success have a lot more of good luck. You know, his book is focused on how people can succeed in the midst of uncertainties, chaos, and possible luck. Everybody has something that is called luck. That is what he said. He said, great companies did not generally have more luck than the other companies. Every company has a luck. Every business owner has a luck. But there are lots of luck, whether good or bad, in comparable amounts. The critical question you need to ask yourself is whether you have luck, you will have luck. But what do you do with the luck that you get? Everybody gets an opportunity of favor, an opportunity of luck, in quotes, in this context. What do you do with the ones you find? That is what this man is talking about. So he now gave us an example of two people that were going to the South Pole in 1911. He said two teams of adventurers made their final preparation in their quest to be the first people in modern history to get to the South Pole. The South Pole is a very cold place, not hot, I beg your pardon. It's a very, very cold region. And these two people were set to go on this journey to make history. One person was someone that has already made up his mind that I'm going on this journey, I'm going to learn how to stay in the cold weather, walk on barefoot, use bicycle, survive on foods that are not expected to, I'm not supposed to eat in in the cold weather, while the other one was just planning based on physical strength and then exercise and all of that. So these two leaders eventually embarked on this mission. But from what he wrote in his book, it is shocking that one of them got there 39 days before the other one and got back home, but the other one got there 39 days after but died on the mission, because by the time he eventually got there, he has lost all his supplies, all the support he had, all the things he planned for, he has lost them. Now, comparing these two men that went on this adventure within an extreme weather. So if I take your business, you as a businessman, take another person as a businessman, contending within the same environment, the same hardship, the same challenge, the same problem we are facing in Nigeria with funding, with customers, with supply, with people, with advertisement, with regulation. And I take business A and I take business B, and these two businesses are on a goal of getting to their first turnover of 1 billion in 5 years. How would you fare? So he compared the two of them using this analogy, and I find something very interesting. The first person that knew that I was going on a journey to a very cold region already understood that when you are going to a cold region, you don't necessarily have to wrap up yourself extremely cold that your body will start generating sweat. You don't want sweat, because once it becomes sweat, it will start forming ice. The other man did not know that. So there are some things that ordinarily, as people, as individuals, as business owners, we need to naturally train ourselves to it. That's why it's always good that when people start from a vulnerable state in business or a low state, you learn all the things you need to learn and learn all the mistakes as you keep going up. So he compared these two individuals. One did not learn that he has to ensure that as much as he's covering himself, he does not want to have it. He needs to be able to reserve his strength. He needs to know that as he's going on, he must put signages, flags, so that when he's coming back, he can locate his way back. The first man didn't know that. He was trying to just use eye sense. Okay, I passed it. He didn't use any flag. So at the end of the day, after he got to the South Pole later than the first person that got there earlier, he's coming back. He was short of supplies because he missed his route. He was going through many other areas, and that is what happened to him. Unfortunately, he died on the journey. That is how many businesses die. That's what this writer is saying here. This is not my writing. Another mistake the person made was the other one. When he was going to a cold region, even with his team, he had 4 thermometers to be checking temperature, but the other one had only one. And along the journey, the thermometer got damaged. So he didn't even have an idea of the temperature. He didn't know how cold it was. He didn't know what measures to be put in place. So as a businessman, after post-corona, what are the measures you need to start putting in place? How do you guide against losses? How do you guide against issues that will come up in business? So I found something very interesting here about different behaviors within the same circumstances. So we find 2 business people running the same business in the same area, but their different behavior will separate how well their businesses will grow. So let's first look at what we did not find about big companies relative to their less successful companies. I'm reading from this book now. It says they are not more creative. Big companies that naturally also sometimes succeed during chaos, they are not more creative than the one that didn't succeed. They are not more visionary. They are not more charismatic. They are not more ambitious. They are not more blessed by luck, as we define luck. They are not more risk-seeking. They are not more heroic. They are not more prone to making big, bold moves. To be clear, we are not saying that 10x leaders lack creative intensity. No. But what is saying that people that do well in business in the midst of challenges are people that they face continuous uncertainty that they cannot shy away from. And because they face all these things, they develop 3 core behaviors. It says one is fanatic discipline. They are extremely disciplined. They have empirical creativity. They are very creative, and they have productive paranoia. So I went further to look at the meaning of productive paranoia, which means it's the ability to be hypervigilant about potential bad events. So in a simple way, you can say ability to mitigate against risk. Every business has its own level of risk. So you are doing a business of firewood, or you are selling wood. You don't have a fire insurance. You're actually playing with fire, and you are playing with the lifespan of your business. So your ability to be able to have productive fear is the ability to be hypervigilant about potentially bad events that can eat your company, that can destroy your company, is productive paranoia, but your ability to also turn that fear into preparation and clear-head action. That is the positive side of it. So if you are nursing fear that I'm selling woods, I don't have any fire insurance, any day there is fire in the sawmill, I'm going to lose everything, and you don't put an insurance in place, then you are just in paranoia but without productivity. You are just in paranoid, you are being scared, but you did not put any measures in place to mitigate against it. So he's saying that people that do business like that, like someone was chatting with me a couple of days ago, I think he's following us. He has problem with debt. Every business has challenges with ability to collect debt from people, customers owing you, vendors owing you, or your suppliers and all that. One of the things you need to do is, as much as you want to sell a product, you must be able to mitigate against that potential loss, because a lot of people can file for bankruptcy now as a result of coronavirus. And if they file for bankruptcy, there's nothing you can do if you take them to court, because it is not their fault. It is a natural occurrence. The shutdown is as a result of natural occurrence. So people can claim losses, which is why the central bank or the government is putting on measures in place for companies that will be suffering loss in any way. People can claim it. So if you have someone that is owing you and you didn't put any measures in place to be able to retrieve your money when anything happens, one day they can grow wings with your money and tell you there's nothing you can do. Worst case, you go to court and the court will say truly they lost money during this period and there's nothing they can do. They don't have anything, they don't have any assets. So who is going to carry the loss? You. So, but for you, in such cases, that is why there are a lot of things you need to be proactive about to mitigate against such incidences. So, the writer took us further to look about the details of being a fanatic, disciplined person. You mentioned 3 core behaviors: fanatic, discipline, empirical, creativity, and productive paranoia. I just explained the productive paranoia. But he gave us an example about someone that was very disciplined. I read this place and I was very, very, very impressed about this man. This man's name is Peter Lewis. He was a CEO of an insurance company many years in America, and then at the point he refused to play games with the stock exchange. Every quarter they submit their report to the stock exchange, and then most market people and the security exchange are able, or most analysts are able to analyze their reports and forecast their earnings. So he keeps bringing their shares up and down. So he said he doesn't want to play that game. He doesn't want to give them any idea into his business. He stood by it because he wanted people to be getting the real idea of what the business was worth, and then he was able to stand against their plan. But he made a decision on his own to be able to publish monthly financial statements, and immediately started publishing monthly financial statements. Their shares started going up regularly because people were seeing what the business was doing every month, unlike waiting for a whole quarter. So when you publish at the end of March, you give speculators room to speculate about your shares between April, May, till you publish again at the end of June. So within that period, your shares will easily go down or up without no reason, but because of people's analysis and speculation. But he didn't want that. So he said, I'll be publishing my own monthly financial statement, my financial statement every month, and that removed any fluctuation in it. Those are examples of fanatic discipline. Making a discipline, or discipline yourself, or making a commitment, making a consistent action to be able to defend your position over a long-term goal for the business. So that was one thing the writer told us. He said it was a good example for him. He also took us to another place that talks about another individual, the owner of Southwest Airlines. This man who had an airline during a very bad period when the economy was not going well, but was able to do well. His goal was low-cost pricing, high-spirit airline, winning every battle, and he was not so educated, no MBA, no crazy degree, but he had so much discipline in himself. He was very disciplined that he was going to go to his airplane repairers, visit them, check his warehouse, check everything that they were doing, follow through to be sure that they were doing the right thing, and he was able to build a very good business. So I've just talked about productive paranoia, fantastic discipline, empirical creativity. Those are the three areas that the writer talked about, that every one of us, in order to be able to build a successful business, to be able to do well in our ventures, our service industries, we need to have a very, very good, productive kind of fear in place. If anything goes wrong, what do I have in place to control it? We need to be very, very disciplined towards our vision, having a consistent action at every time of the day. I will be ending this session at empirical creativity, and I'll do a second video so that I can make the video short and we don't get bored and not be as if I'm just reading from the book. Empirical creativity, I'll be continuing from empirical creativity in my next video, and then we'll go from there to the next chapter, and then possibly we should be able to finish this book after about 3 videos. It's a very good book, and I found some online. Somebody found their soft copies online and sent them to me as PDF. I would possibly share the links on this video, so you can also download them online and have your own copy and be able to make good use of. This is just a summary I'm telling you, so you, by the time reading for yourself, it will be very, very nice. Thank you for following this video. I appreciate everybody that have been part of this, and then actually the fact that I'm even doing it as a video is encouraging me to and forcing me to read it, so it's a commitment on my part. So you have to look for a way to commit yourself to read these fantastic books. Thank you.